Welcome to Time to Teach with Tammy, the podcast that gives tips, advice, and suggestions to teachers by a real teacher. So sit back and enjoy. And oh yeah, don't forget to subscribe. And we're back. Welcome to episode 49 of Time to Teach, entitled All About Student-Led Conferences, Part 2. So this episode obviously follows last episode's episode 40. Was that episode 48, all about student conferences, when I really primarily just talked about the way we conduct student-led conferences at my school and how I do that specifically in my classroom. And then I had at that time also done a student segment, which ended up getting very lengthy. So I had decided, instead of including it on last week's episode, making last week's episode extremely long, I decided I would include it for this episode, just to kind of give a perspective from the students, what they experienced, what they did, how they were feeling. So just its own separate episode, which is very different than the way I typically do my episodes if you are someone who's been listening for a while. So it's kind of neat. You're going to hear just from my cute little kiddos, two of them who are going to be speaking with me. So yeah, that's a little bit different. So this is kind of a conclusion from last week. You definitely, if you did not hear episode 48, you do want to listen to that as well. It's very important. I don't think you will learn everything there is to learn about student-led conferences by just this episode. It really just kind of supplements and goes from the perspective from my students. So yeah, definitely want to make sure that you catch episode 48. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get started with the wins and fails segment. So one win that we had was that we were able to schedule a field trip for our entire grade level. In fact, one of my colleagues was able to schedule that. So thank you to Miss Becky, who's the one who scheduled that for us. So we will be going to this new aquarium that is here in the city, Aquario Michin, and I'm very excited. It is a brand new aquarium, and actually my family and I were able to attend and visit it during spring break. It was really nice. I was actually very impressed. I wasn't sure what to expect, but when I got there, it was a really, I thought, nice size aquarium. We, as a family, spent about 2 hours there. I felt like there was a lot to see. It was just very nice. So I think this is a great way to kind of supplement our animal unit that we're doing. So that was a win to be able to get that, because my fail for the week is kind of related. We did not get to do the field trip that we initially had planned. This was a big bummer. The last 2 years, we have been going to a field trip to La Granjita, which means little farm. That was the name to it. And it was really a little farm inside the city. And it was very close to our school. It was the strangest thing. And I forget who on our team had actually found La Granjita, but it was so nice to have. It was just such an excellent field trip that we got to do. And it was small. It was appropriate for our school or for our students. 2 classes at a time could attend, but it was nice because they got to see some of some of the animals. They got to bathe a horse. They got to kind of see the life cycle or learn a little bit about the life cycle of a chicken. They also got to make homemade tortillas, which I don't know, maybe isn't necessarily related to animals, but I think just the idea of what can be done, and that relating to nature, and it was really nice, and we did that for the last 2 years. But then as we inquired about this field trip, we found out that they ended up closing. Apparently there were complaints in the neighborhood because, I don't know, I imagine that having a farm in your neighborhood probably could cause some disruption. So I understand that from that point of view. But in terms of what it meant for us, that was a little disappointing. We had loved that field trip. But like I said, we were able to schedule the field trip to the aquarium, so I am excited about that. I think the kids are really going to enjoy that, and it will be a nice way to supplement our unit, and especially because they have guided tours just for school, so that will be really, really good. Okay, you guys, so that's it. We're going to go straight into today's show. You'll notice as I play the feed from that interview that I refer to it as the student segment, which is typical when I am doing a recording and then I do a separate track of an interview with students and I include it on my episode, and that's usually intended to be embedded within the entirety of the episode, whereas this is a little bit different. It turned out to be more than just a student segment. It ended up being today's episode entirely. So that's what it is. Again, this is just an interview or discussion with my students talking about their experience. You definitely want to make sure you listen to episode 48 because that's going to kind of give you the background and the backstory really to the interview. So don't miss that episode 48. Okay, without any further ado, that is it, you guys. So I hope you enjoy today's episode. And I am so excited for today's student segment because we are going to talk to a couple of friends about our student-led conference that we actually just had yesterday, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, remember you want to kind of come close to the mic. So we're going to be discussing that. And the first thing that, and before we get started, we are recording on scene, so we got reading workshop going on in the back, and it's it's happening here live. So yesterday was our student-led conference. I first want to ask you guys a little bit about how did we get ready for student-led conference? What are some of the things we did to prepare ourselves?
First, we choose a book, and our teacher said that choose a book, and that is our just right book, and read almost all the days in daily 3. And when it was the day, the first we need to do in English, it was like read our just right book.
Okay, and how did you okay, so that was our friend N. I just usually don't say names. Let's hear from our friend P. What did you do to prepare? Can you add to that?
I use my book, my just right book, and I read all that week that was close to that day, and I read my book. And I don't stop reading. And when I do partner reading, I act out with my partner to don't read another book because I need to read my just right book.
Great. And let me explain what they're talking about. So, one of the things that we did is we had a checklist, and this was a checklist to help them remember all the things that they were going to share with their parents when they came in for student-leds. So the checklist consisted of what a checklist would normally consist of. There's a box that gets checked when it's done, and then next to it was a picture to help them remember what they do when they see that picture. So the first one was a picture of their book box, and they chose a Just Right book that they wanted to read. It was one that they'd had in their book box, and then they just kind of made sure that they really read it in a way that they can show their parents exactly what we've been doing. And we've been working at being avid readers, right? So you wanted to show that to Mom and Dad. What are some things that avid readers do that you made sure you did when we read to our parents? We'll start with P and then go to N.
We do avid readers to choose a book and read that book to our parents, because we need to be so good to do, like we need to be so confused. We read the book all the time, and we echarle ganas to practice the book to our partners and to read for ourselves. And a avid reader do not can stop reading and go different place to read, and can do too, like keep a pile of books waiting. And I do when I read the book to my parents, I do like I put a sticky notes to remember that I put this is the book that I am going to read to my parents.
Me too.
And me too.
Yeah, that was a good way for them to remember. Sorry, P, you wanted to say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too, I put a sticky note, and I put a sticky note like that this is my book, and to don't forget that is my book to read for my parents. But I put a sticky note because I see that a friend that Anne is put to a sticky note, and my teacher said that I need to that I can put it, but I put it the sticky note.
We are big fans of sticky notes here in our class. Okay, so you guys read your Just Right book to your moms and dads, and then the second thing that you shared was your published piece, yeah? So you guys, they spent so much time on this published piece. Can we now kind of talk a little bit about that? So you shared, what was your published piece that you shared with your mom and dad?
I do like a book of keeping the earth. Like I do like not cutting trees. I put like first I do a book because the teacher said that we need a book. And
Who is your teacher?
Miss Tammy.
Oh, me. Okay. Sorry.
And
just kidding.
And I do like 3 copies, and one I take it to publish, and I do it like work, and then.
How did you get it ready for publishing? What was some of the work that went into that? Can you tell our audience?
Yeah, I do like, I color, I do like, I put the arrow that says this is a tree, and that it was, and then when I finish all, I need to put the cover, and I put the cover, and I put the title, I put a picture, and the title was Save Our Tree, but
I love that title.
but then I need to do like a picture, and I do like almost all the space have to do the picture, and then it was that not the other day was the day of the student read conflicts, and I need to do like to read my published book, and then when I read it all, and my parents sent something like you read so good, and
They were really proud of you, huh?
yeah. It's
Um,
Peter.
yeah, it's P's turn. So P, maybe you can tell us about like how you, a little bit about your piece and how you got ready for that published piece.
I do my book of another week. We start the book the last week, and we need to finish it. And Wednesday was the last day to finish the book, and like I finished the book back, but I need to do the book more, and we started the book the last week, and we do the book, and the book was like how to walk a dog, and I have a lot of details and a lot of words because I need to put how first you do this, and then I need to put a little story, and in the first page of my first, I put like it's so fun to walk a dog because you play with him, and my dad said because my mom don't go, and my dad said that I need to when I read a book and I don't know a word, I need to copy it, the word of the book that I found, that I do like a book. I need to copy it, and took like I noticed that in a page that I can do like if I do not know a word that I cannot write, I can put like I need to do the sound that the letter a lot of time, and I sometimes do that.
Great, and I love what a great tip there, P. What I heard you saying at the end there was like if you didn't know a word and you knew where to find that word, you kind of went there and you found it and you wrote it. I think that's a really great tool. Because if we know where to find a word, then we know how it's like a tool, like our dictionary, right?
Yeah.
So fantastic. Okay, so they shared reading and writing, and then you guys shared your how-to books that you wrote, typed up, and then you guys used the iPad to do that. And then we went on, and you guys even played like a math game with your parents. I want to ask you guys, how did you feel yesterday having your mom and dad here and presenting? How did you feel?
And I feel like when it was like in Wednesday and the next day was Tuesday, that it was a day, I was like very excited and a little bit scared, and I feel like very good because I want to do like the much that I like in English. It was the iPad because that I need to put in my how-to book that I publish, and I put it in the iPad, and my title it was how to blow your nose, but and
It was
then
a great how to.
yeah.
Because we need to know how to do that here.
And in the last set, the reader name, and I put my name is Nicola.
Mm.
And then I put that what I like, and I like soccer. I put my favorite food is hot dog. And
Yeah, I learned something new when I heard that.
And I am going to put like my favorite color. It was green, but I only put my favorite color.
Okay,
It's because the time is like it was time to go. When I go to technology, it was time to go, and I not finished to put green.
There's never enough time, is there, Ann?
Yeah.
Hey, quick question there, bud. Okay, so you were excited, and you said you were also scared. Can you tell me what made you feel scared, or why you were scared?
Because I was like a little bit like scared, or I was so excited for tomorrow, for Tuesday, and then when it was the day, I relaxed. I am like
Was it because it was like such an important day and you were presenting to mom and dad? Yeah, it can make anyone feel a little scared because you want it to go really well. Totally get that. P, what about you? How did you tell us about how did it feel yesterday when you were presenting to dad?
I felt so excited, too excited, but so excited, and I was a little bit like nervous because I don't have school, and but I too have a class that is not I don't have school, and I was so excited because I read the book of the iPad that I do, and because I was so happy to my dad come with me, and we played the math game, and I showed him the journal.
Great. And let me just explain that to the audience. So they didn't actually have regular school yesterday when we had our student-led. What we did is I created a schedule of 50-minute time blocks, and 5 students at a time could sign up. Well, obviously their parents would sign up, so that there were 5 at a time who came, and that was the only time they came to school yesterday was to do their student-led conference. Okay, last question as we close up here. Can you just share something that maybe your mom and dad told you after you did the student-led conference? What did your mom and dad say?
My mom and dad say that they very like one of English. It was like the iPad about the iPad, that my how-to book of the iPad, that how to blow your nose. That is like that my mom's and dad like very much, and they like very much too. Like they was so proud of me, and they like too. And the maths again of get to 20, and we play like one time my dad win, and then the other time I win, and then that they very like in Spanish, they like my cuaderno of Spanish because of the pictures of what they do in the weekend, and they say that my mom said that her want to read when I finish all my cuaderno of Spanish. he said that he's going to read it all in in one day because he heard very of the Spanish of Ordeno, and to they very like that my mom and dad that were the Ordeno of Spanish. They very like.
And that's a notebook in English, just so you guys know. Cuaderno is notebook. Great, thank you. And P, what about you? What did Dad say? How did he like the conference?
I said to Nico when I was going to a restaurant. When I was going to the car of my dad, I said to Nico, and yes, my dad said me that I work good and the work of Spanish that the first day that I do my sketchbook of the Spanish, I show to my dad, and when I say close your eyes, and I go to the another page, the another part of my book, of my sketchbook, and my dad say, "Wow, you change." And I was happy because he said me a word that I laughed, and the card that in the paper that I need to do this and put the card that he said that what I do good and what I need to change. I liked and I was so impressed because I like a lot, and I do like my best work with my dad, and I like a lot, and I was happy because I was happy because my dad do it me happy.
Great. Okay, and also let me explain to the audience, because obviously most of our students, in fact everyone in my class, their native language is Spanish. For a lot of the parents, this is the first time they actually really get to hear them speaking in English, because obviously they go home and they're speaking in Spanish. So that's another element specific to our school and population. They really love that aspect because they don't typically get to hear them communicate in English. So it's really just such a nice experience for them. Okay, I think we're going to have to close up this student segment because, I'm looking at the clock and I think it's that time.
Yeah, we need to close it.
Okay, well, thank you, N and P, for coming on my show. Will you enjoy the rest of today?
Yeah.
All right.
Goodbye.
Okay, you guys, so that's it. I enjoy listening to my students. I just think they're so cute. So, I love hearing things from their perspective. But yeah, that's it. Do you do student-led conferences? If so, I'd love to hear from you. How are yours? Similar, different, whatever? I'd love to connect with you. You can reach me on Twitter at TammyJ123. That is Tammy, TAMIJ123. And I will see you next time. Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Before you go, don't forget you can catch our show notes online at www.timetoteach.libsyn. That's LIBSYN.com. We're also on Facebook at Time to Teach. Don't forget to check out our Facebook group, Teachers for Effective Curriculum. And if you're an educator with your own podcast show, I invite you to join our brand new Facebook group, Teachers Who Podcast. Let's grow a community where we can network, problem solve, and discuss anything and everything podcast related. I'll see you there.